Good afternoon, everybody. Today I will discuss an important case that was decided by the Supreme Court, Kennedy versus Bremerton, which was decided in 2022. This case is important for educational leaders because it addresses the constitutional rights of school employees while also emphasizing the responsibility of schools to protect students from religious coercion. In the Kennedy versus Bremerton School District, Joseph Kennedy, a high school football coach, regularly engaged in brief prayer following football games. The school district became concerned that his prayer could be perceived as a school-sponsored religious activity. After Kennedy continued to pray, the district took disciplinary actions against him. Kennedy then argued that the district had violated his right to freedom of speech and free exercise of his religion. The Supreme Court ruled in his favor 6-3. The court then determined that Kennedy's brief personal prayer constituted protected religious expression and that the school district could not suppress his religious expression simply because it was religious. The court also changed the way that the Establishment Clause cases are evaluated. Rather than relying on the previous Lemon versus Kurtzman framework, the court directed courts to consider historical practices and understanding when addressing government involvement with religion. For educational leaders, however, the decision does not mean that school employees may use their position as authorities to promote religious or pressure students to participate in religious activities. The distinction between private religious expression and government-sponsored religious activities remain extremely important. As an administrator, I would evaluate the circumstances rather than automatically assuming that religious expression is prohibited. I would consider when the expression occurs, whether the employee is performing official duties, and whether the participation is voluntary. Also, whether the students could reasonably feel pressured to participate in the religious activity. At the same time, I would make it clear to the students that they never should be pressured or feel pressured or treated differently because of their religious beliefs, even if they choose not to participate in the religious activities that are on campus. This connects directly to the first leadership expectation, promoting democracy and individual freedom and responsibility. A democratic school community must respect individuals with different religious and non-religious perspectives. Students should understand that constitutional freedom means having the right to express their belief while also respecting the right of others. The second leadership expectation involves ethical behavior and personal conduct and relationships. Educational leaders must model fairness, respect, neutrality, and professionalism. When concerns about religious expression arise, administrators should gather the facts and then address the situation objectively rather than making an assumption about their employees' beliefs. The third leadership expectation is prioritizing character education and human flourishing. Religious neutrality does not mean that religion must be excluded from schools. Instead, it means that schools should be able to provide an environment where the students can develop respect, show empathy, and give integrity and responsibility, as well as giving them a civic awareness without being pressured to accept a particular religious belief that is presented to them. For example, if one student chooses to pray voluntarily, that student should have the right to be respected. But if another one chooses not to participate, then they should have the same respect level because they choose not to participate. It doesn't make them any different. The responsibility of the school leader is to protect both of those choices, whether they choose to or they choose not to. As an administrator, I would take 3 practical steps. First, I would provide my staff with professional development regarding First Amendment protection and religious expression. Then I would review the school policies to ensure that they protect religious expressions while preventing coercion or any school-sponsored religious activity. And then finally, I would address the complaints individually by gathering the facts before making any type of disciplinary decision. Kennedy versus Bremerton School District reminds educational leaders that constitutional leadership requires balance. We must protect the individual's freedom of each one of my employees while also protecting the students from being coerced. We also must respect religious expression without promoting religion. That's how you have to create a balance. Most importantly, my goal would be to create a school where people with different beliefs can learn, work together, and have dignity and respect with any decision that they make regarding religion. This approach supports constitutional rights, ethical leadership, and the development of responsible citizens in a diverse democratic society. Thank you for listening.